Hiya, I'm Jasper, and welcome to your video review for Lightyear. Not Buzz Lightyear, but just Lightyear. Alright, so as always, I'm going to give you the good, the bad, and the furry. To start off the furry, there's a lot of these like crustacean-y, crabby thingies, like, but they're not sentient, and, they're kind of like the, a bit of the spiders from Lost in Space type of thing. Anyway, so moving on, this is a movie that stars Chris Evans, not Chris Pratt. Up until I actually saw the movie, I thought that Chris Pratt was the Chris from the MCU that had replaced Tim Allen, but it was Chris Evans, not Chris Pratt, so not Star-Lord, but Captain America has replaced Tim Allen. The other thing, and this doesn't really ruin anything because they explained this in the opening crawl, but a lot of people are like, oh, Tim Allen should have been the voice. And don't get me wrong, I love Tim Allen, love his Buzz Lightyear. But I think, especially after having watched the whole movie, I think that their choice makes sense for what they did with the toys and everything else. Because, again, opening scroll is that in Toy Story, Andy watched a movie and then he got some toys based on it and was just like, yeah, such a cool movie, such cool things, blah, 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 blah. This is the movie that Andy watched. And I think that with what they did with the toys here in the 90s makes sense based on like the production time frames that they used to work with and everything else. So I think it makes sense, and I like what they did with it and how they did that. So awesome all around. The other thing that I will say is that, I saw a lot of negativity about this movie, sort of. So with Captain Marvel, I didn't see any of the negativity in the news prior to actually watching the movie because I had enough things like muted and just avoided certain things and yada yada. And I still really like that movie. With this one, I was exposed to a bit more of the negativity around it before watching the movie. But what I will say is that it was a good movie. If it wasn't for like today's current political climate, I wouldn't have even noted that his partner person in the Lightyear Corps or whatever, like the Space Force, I wouldn't have even noticed or noted that she was a black chick because they weren't like, hey, look, we got a black chick. See, we got a black chick here, huh? We got a black chick, huh? See, please, huh? Like, it wasn't like that. It was like his partner was a well-rounded, developed character who had a life and feelings and emotions and a backstory and things that happened, and same thing with the other characters. Like, it wasn't about like, see, we got a black person in here, huh? We got see, give us all those money. Like, it wasn't about that. It doesn't fucking matter. So, the whole like, oh, it's so terrible. And the other thing that I saw was there was like this big deal made about this, this other instance that happened that got it banned from Saudi Arabia, which, because they're the people that we want to have our standards based off of, right? Saudi Arabia? Whatever. So they were like, oh, it's such a big deal. Look, I was watching the movie and I was looking for that part before, like, I even went into the movie. I was looking for it. And I fucking missed it. Like, I was looking for it and I was like, what? I know that was the sequence where that would have had to have happened. And I missed it unless they're like, what is the deal? So I think that it was perfectly fine because the characters and whatnot, it wasn't about being like, look, we have all this LGBTQAI, whatever, black person, see? It wasn't about that. It was about the characters, and that shit was all secondary. You know what I mean? So they did a good job of making characters that bit was not integral to the character itself, herself, whatever. That's not the point. You get what I mean? So all this freaking out about it, like, there's a good way to do it, and then there's a way that like shoves it down your throat and is only there for that purpose, where that is their entire personality. And they did it the good way. So I'm totally fine with it. And I thought that it worked well for the show because it didn't fucking matter. That was not what their character was about. Okay? Moving on to the rest of the film at this point. You still with me? Cool. So, the storyline is that they crash land on this planet, and then it's their struggles to try and get off the planet, and all that ensues with some character growth for Buzz. And what I will say is that when I first watched it, like, even as I was watching, I was like, was Buzz always this much of an asshole? I feel like he was not this much of an asshole. But after somebody was like, no, he kind of was. Think about the first movie. I was like, oh yeah, he was kind of an asshole to Woody and to like everybody. That actually works for his personality. And so in the movie, in Lightyear, I was like, oh, okay, he's kind of a jerk, but are they just trying to make sure he has character growth? And like he does have character growth because why wouldn't he? But I think that they started him off actually in the right amount of assholery, if you will. So yeah, and I liked the sub characters. Taika Waititi is in this and is always a win. So yes, anything that he is in is awesome. And I liked the other character that they had in this. She's kind of my favorite. So yeah, that is it's fantastic all around. I liked the pacing of the story, the jokes that they had, and just how Buzz basically learns his lessons was fantastic. And what I will say is that like I was expecting just like especially because Andy was a young kid when he watched this movie, and I don't remember if it's rated G or PG or whatever, but I'm like, it's clearly designed for the kiddos for this movie. So I was expecting like just a popcorn good time. It's from Disney, so it's going to have good CGI, and storyline, whatever else. I was not expecting the feels that I had in this movie. Straight up cried at one point. And if you've seen the film, you know what I'm talking about. If you didn't cry, I feel sorry for you, because that just hits you. It just hits you. So I did not go to the film for that. It was good, but it was not what I was expecting. Okay, moving on. Good movie, good music. Some of the like technological decision-y things, it almost felt a little bit like in Click where you had to like fast forward, and it's like, you have other options with that remote, right? Like you can do other things with that. It almost felt like that, but not quite. They that needle. Okay, you're in the good side. So good movie, fun time, some feels, and it wasn't about the politics in this at all. Like that didn't factor in. It didn't feel like they were shoving an agenda down your throat. But I know like people have been saying, yay Disney or boo Disney, depending on what side you're on of things. But it was a fun time. I think you'll have a good time if you're in for just a fun, if you liked Buzz Lightyear in the Toy Story shows, you're gonna like him in this one. It's a fun time. So yeah, check it out. But that's all I have to say for this one. Thanks for coming. Thanks for watching. Hope to see you at the next one. Bye.